Steven Anderson from Pennsylvania helps make this a time machine episode of The Thunder Show. Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, this is The Thunder Show, aka WLTV, the internet's most passionate wine program, and we have an obnoxiously, let's call it redonkulous, show of Wine Library TV today because we are focusing on the Cabernets from Louis Martini, and specifically some old school stuff, 64, 65, 67, 68, and 69 vintages of Louis Martini California Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon, and this is just an obnoxious lineup of old school California Cabernets. We're going to see how they held up. Are they holding up? Mott, zoom in on these corks down here. Corks are looking, decent, a little rugged. Not too horrible, though. We're going to see what's going on with that. And so I'm really darn excited about this show. We have not done wines of this kind of age capability. And so we're going to toss out Laid Back Friday. And we're going to bring it over here and go with some serious old school Friday action. Old school, like hip-hop. Old school hip-hop. Speaking of, I want to go in a different direction. I want to ask a couple things. Let's do a quick lineup of Mott Link It Ups. If you don't know what Mott Link It Up is, Chris Mott, the cameraman's going to link it. So if you scroll below the videos, you'll see the links. I want to link up the secret packs, Mott. Let's do that. Let's link up, what other thing? Let's link up the March 29th thing, which is tomorrow. That's everybody's rolling in, so let's do those two little link. Sorry, some lame link it ups. But anyway, I'm excited about tomorrow. I know hundreds and hundreds of Maniacs are going to be here at the Wine Lib. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, come over here tomorrow between 11 and 3. We're going to be rocking it out here at the store, a little meetup. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about that. I also want to ask everybody this time to come through for me, and I need your help. Videos. I need a 30-second warning video for Wine Library TV. We have now heard so many people say that the first 30 seconds of Wine Library TV has thrown them off or they didn't watch after that. And I know that's part of my whole thing, but I want to do for fun, just a little bit, a warning video, the first 30 seconds. Maybe you can sort whatever you want. Creative. I'm not that creative. But I'm looking for the Maniacs out there. Can I get at least 10, 15 submissions for a 30-second warning video with some highlights and some color and some cartoons? There's so many skilled peeps out there, man. They're not sending anything. How about all you suckers that got the wristband and haven't sent in a picture? Do you really feel good about yourselves? And how about the lurkers? You've watched hundreds of free content shows. No comments. Ma. Craziness. Pissed off Friday. Let's get into it. And so I'm really excited about this. First wine's a half bottle. Now understand this, we don't have the price points on the first couple, but we did find on winesearcher.com that the 68 sells for about $125 now, and the 69 for $175. Louis Martini is a legendary character in the California wine industry. Came to the U.S. in 1899, made his first wine in 1906. Zoom in on this one, Mott. This is the 1964. Went back to Italy in 1911, opened his winery in 1933. I mean, this is a legend in the wine industry, and some of these old wines are just absolutely very intriguing to taste, and so I'm really excited about jumping into these. I'm going to pour them all into separate glasses. And what's really exciting about these wines is, they're very old. Some of these might be cooked or no longer drinkable. We're going to find out. But it's also going to be interesting to see if these wines are holding up and capable to bring the thunder. And I think they may be. I mean, I'm just darn excited. What else am I excited about? I'm excited about life. Excited about life and the Thunder Show. The show is doing great, and I really appreciate the support. And Ma, why don't you give a little lineup ring there? See, I mean, kind of interesting, don't you think? I mean, from the quick glance, almost all of them have the same color. The only thing I would say is maybe the 65 is the darkest of the bunch. And when you get into these older wines, they start creating a much different, funkier. You're going to need to get into the smelly feet, the cheese, just the funky barnyard components. Manure is going to be rocking and throwing. Vegetables are going to start forming, like escargot smells. I mean, it gets very earthy. And very different. It'll be interesting to see the wines of this generation, these fruit bombs, how they last in 30, 40, 50 years. And so let's get into the 64, which is, what are we talking about, 44 years old? It's crazy. This wine is 44 years old, and so I'm excited about that. So as for the videos, big birthday, late birthday shout out to Miranda Jujorov, right, from her husband Achilles in Cyprus, right?
Cyprus.
That's right, big fans over there, so big birthday to that. And also, I want to mention, I'm very backed up on email right now. The worst I've ever been. I'm just getting hammered. So I'm on a 1 week or 2 week delay, so I apologize. So if you have something really urgent, like what should I have for my anniversary or birthday or shout out, please star it and wiggle it and make it count. Or email Mott, link it up, cmott at winelibrary.com. Yeah, buddy. CMOOTT at winelibrary.com. Let's do that. 64 Louis Martini Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's give it a sniffy sniff once again. I mean, just an obnoxious gesture from Steve Anderson. We appreciate it. Big fan. One of the people's. I mean, just such a amazing situation. I mean, this smells exactly like mud. Exactly. A lot of earth, a lot of soil coming through. A little hint of greenness, a little bit of mint. I get a eucalyptus minty component coming through on this nose quite a bit. Very interesting. But really like soil. I mean, like soil, actually like burying a grasshopper into the mud, right? You know, the grasshoppers, what's that, Nabisco or whatever, those are good. You like those? Or an Andes candy, right? Burying that into the soil. I mean, like the real soily of soil. Reminds me of Kmart when they had the outdoor space for their garden stuff in the back of the days. Let's give it a whirl. Now this is Sonoma and Napa fruit. What did he say? He has a great quote. Louis Martini said something like, "My heart is in Napa, but my soul is in Sonoma." Something very interesting and smart. Very interesting fruit composition. Great mid-palate, medium body. I get very heavy cabbage, red cabbage components on the fruit, mixed out with cherry, and a hint of almost like a V8 vegetal component, and that's exactly what this wine's tasting like. I can't underestimate the eucalyptus mint component of this wine as well. As a matter of fact, I should cork this and forget breath mints. My mouth is very wintry fresh all of a sudden. I'm not kidding. Extreme mint and eucalyptus and mouthwash and toothpaste component on the finish. Youthful, not dead. Let me rephrase that. Not youthful. Staying strong, but definitely not a dead wine, which is nice. You can see your fingers completely through it, something that is not reminiscent of the California Cabernets these days. Very interesting stuff. Interesting. Classic old Bordeaux-styled flavors, really, to be honest with you. Really nice. I'm not going to score these wines today out of respect for, you know, Louis Martini and just the culture of scoring these kind of classic things. But maybe I will. I don't know. I'm not in the mood. But right now, I'm not in the mood. We're going to start with that one. Very good. Very interesting. Very much an experience. And don't forget, that's what really wine is all about. 65, right? Huh? 65. Let's zoom on that. I mean, I was -10 when this wine was made. Pretty cool. You're a 4, Mott? This has a different nose. But similar again. Very earthy soil and dirt, you know, like topsoil coming through on the nose. Wild mushrooms are a very obvious component as well. You can tell the whole room is starting to get like that. Very interesting. Also getting a little bit of like a red radish component here, so it's pretty interesting. Let's give it a whirl. This one's a little more shot. It's trying to hold on, but it's like barely holding on. It's got a really nice, it's got like almost like a stone, I mean, like the side of the New Jersey Turnpike, you know, stones and sticks and kind of like that kind of thing going on. There's a little bit of raspberry coming through, but I'm having a little difficulty with this wine. It's a little off. It's not really got much left to it. God, I like drinking these wines though, you know? They've got so much character. Again, a little bit of like a cauliflower, raw cauliflower kind of component, celery stick, Again, gonna lean towards that V8 juice kind of thing with like cement dust. It's like take your V8 juice in your cup and in your glass, a big open like a mojito glass, fill in a V8 juice and go to a construction site while they're and the dust of the concrete, and that's really what this tastes like. That feels good to me right there. A V8 juice in a mojito cup with a lot of concrete dust in your glass. That's what this tastes like, my friends. And I'm not kidding. Let's move on. 67. I guess we missed the 66. 67. Louis Martini Cabernet. Sniffy sniff. Now this one's fundamentally different than the last two for sure. This has like a very interesting meaty component, almost like a dry ham component, little cheese, and a kasha. Do you know what kasha is? It's got a kasha grainy kind of thing going on. I also get a little hint of red raspberries, but very subtle, getting pretty vegetal. Let's give it a whirl. By far the most weight of the bunch. Really interesting. The finish completely falls apart at the end. This is also a little bit tired. Wow, the 64 is actually holding up in a half bottle. I love the rule that, half bottles age quicker and the half bottle's killing the other two right now. But it's got more fruit than the last two. Very sour cherry coming through. Sour cherry, man, is just pelting you in your mouth with these. There's a little bit of like a top of white asparagus kind of flavor coming through on this as well. But there's some oomph, more oomph to this wine than the last bunch. Very interesting. It's just shocking and such a different experience to drink older wine. I can't tell you. It's just a totally different experience. And watching them evolve, and this is something that I'd love to teach you in today's show. When you're drinking older wine, a lot of times you want to kind of drink it right away, but watching it evolve a lot of times is a lot of fun. 68, great vintage. That was the season the Jets won the Super Bowl. This one was at about 125 bones. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Some really interesting color. All these are like that dark, brownish, reddish, ruby kind of thing going on. Hey now. I think I missed this shirt. Lizzie, it's okay. Sniffy sniff. Right, this wine is the weirdest of the bunch. It could have something going on. Yeah, I think this wine might be corked. Let's give it a whirl. Or cooked, actually. So, if you want to know what a wine that has been heat damaged tastes like, this is what it tastes like. It tastes almost like you're drinking gasoline meets Vaseline meets Pennzoil. I mean, just very, think of the motor oil kind of component, and you could just taste it. Almost motor oil blended with Bengay would be the best way I can tell you. This, unfortunately, is a dead wine. And finally, the 69 Louis Martini. Cabernet Sauvignon. This is just fascinating, these wines, just drinking these older wines. Again, that brownish tint to the red ruby coloring. Let's give this wine a snippy sniff. This is the most vegetal of the bunch. This really tastes like mixed vegetables, like carrots and peas and celery and Brussels sprouts. Let's give it a whirl. Immensely over-the-top green. Lettuce and cucumbers and celery and all that jazz on the back end. Again, similar to the 67 in its body weight. Has a little bit more fruit too. There's a little bit of a plum component. But all of these wines are vegetal. I think the 67 is the best of the bunch. Whereas the 69... 67's got a lot more fruit actually than 69. 69 comes across also with a polenta meets mushrooms kind of thing going on. I don't mean marshmallows this time. So there's a totally different kind of vibe going on. I like those both quite a bit, though. They both have a little bit of a different thing going on. Let's go back to the 65. Very earthy, very different. This is more of that topsoil greenish kind of component going on. All these wines have enormous character and old schoolness, right? It's like you're sitting with your grandpappy and you just, maybe you don't agree with it because the times have changed, but you know there's some substance behind it, right? You know it's true, and it's definitely true for an era. And that's how I feel like as I'm drinking these wines. What's funny is the 64 kind of rocked me the most early on. And let's see what's going on here. God, this is crazy, Mott. This mint eucalyptus thing going on in 64 is insanity. Just amazing. Besides the shot wine, and look at this, 12.5% alcohol content. Isn't it amazing how wine has followed our society? Isn't it? Now everything's 14, 15% bigger, better, bolder. It's just a very interesting insight to the growth of the human nature. No, human nature. Everybody's getting excited. Very, very interesting wines. Extremely captivating. Wow. Really minty fresh, Mott. Mott, try this. Experiencing wine and trying different things and getting an opportunity to taste these wines. You taste it, right?
No, smell it.
Smell it, right? Crazy. Having the opportunity to taste wines as they evolve, this is a great thing for the palate. If you have an opportunity to try older wine as you go out there and experience that, it's going to expand your palate and get you to a different zone and show you how wines 40 years old are completely still hanging in there. Interesting, right? Wait till the kick comes in. It's like this new candies that you eat, and then like later it's like, whew, you got the mintiness, you're going to almost feel it, I'm telling you. Just very intriguing wines. I mean, tough to score these wines, and I won't because it's tough to gauge against. It's not like I'm drinking 1960s California wines every day. But for 4 of the 5 to still be in shape enough to be a wine, whereas one is cooked, is just remarkable. Obviously, a big indication of Steve Anderson's cellar. Kudos to you, Steve. And please do email me. I'd love to repay you any way I can. Dinner on me. Maybe I'll come out to PA, hang out with you. Just incredibly interesting. I feel like, I feel humbled to be in the presence of these wines. That's really how I feel. Very difficult to give you the tasting breakdowns on these wines. I apologize. I don't think I gave you the depth that maybe I could have, but I'm just, they're tough. I mean, they're just kind of become basic and have gone to their one fundamental flavor profile. If I had to choose, I'd probably drink the 64 and the 67 the most. Those were the 2 of my favorites, but just a very interesting episode for me. Anything I can do to, push your knowledge and change the game for you, make you think outside the box, and maybe induce you to save some wines for a long time. That's what I'm about, changing wine world. I wanted to hit on a couple bullet points. People are asking me a lot, on a side note, so due respect, moving on. When I go to a restaurant, what should I do? And I just want to give you a couple bullet points. If you go to a restaurant and you get a big wine list, I want you to do a couple things for me. Number 1, ask the sommelier or the server if they can recommend something for you. First thing, right off the bat. If that person recommends something to you, like, oh, I love this Zinfandel, or you should try this new Merlot we just got in, you should not take their advice ever. The fact that they did not ask you for your preference or the kind of things you've liked means that they have no care really for what you care about, right? And they're imposing their will and their thoughts on you. And so, Mott, for you too, the first thing you ask is, what would you recommend? If they're not asking you, well, what do you like? We've got problem number 1. Number 2, now you're left with that, you're on your own. Please do me one favor. Pick something you've never had before. Varietal. Don't drink another producer's Pinot Noir. I know that. I'm talking about Pinot Gris and Tannat and Vernaccia and Verdicchio and Valangina and just Grenache, Mourvedre. Try something. If you don't know what it is, when you look at it, you're like, I have no idea what it is. That's what you order. The likelihood of you liking that as much as something else is just as equal. And everything is an experience and allows your palate to expand. And that is the journey, my friends, that we are on with the wine world today. Question of the day. What is your favorite thing, besides the Jets winning the Super Bowl on January 12th, 1969? What is your favorite thing about the 60s? Some of you weren't born, but you've got a favorite thing. I wasn't born in 69. That's my favorite day of all time, Mott. Because you, with a little bit of me, We're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not. Have a great weekend, and I'll see a crap load of you tomorrow. Oh, and the real question of the day. Well, no, the second real question of the day. Who's going to be here tomorrow? I'm trying to gauge it. Please answer this. If you're coming, please, please, please answer. You'll be here tomorrow. Thank you.